global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to our channel. So, a few hours ago, Professor Odinkalu and Wike, the FCT minister, actually were at battle of words. They literally came against one another. All of them, both of them, literally going at each other's throat over the issue of judiciary and their character and integrity. Of course, one of the strong allies of Wike have decided to watch. I'm talking about the legal luminary, that's OCJ Okocha, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, a former NBA president, have decided to speak strongly over so many issues, including the CJN Kekere's involvement in Wike's 40 unit houses meant for judiciary, and the fact that despite all he has said, he took a swap, of course, at Odinkalu, Professor Odinkalu. Odinkalu, of course, is not letting the matter lie low. He replied him accordingly. I guess it's time for the judiciary. But before we go into the newspaper, kindly subscribe to our channel. Now, according to the news, the former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, Mr. OJC Okocha, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, SAN, had weighed in on the controversy surrounding the decision by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Ekun, to attend the foundation laying ceremony for the construction of the 40 housing units, that's owners occupiers, for different categories of judicial officers in the Federal Capital Territory. Now, report has it that Okocha expresses disagreement with the argument that the CJN not to have attended the event. I totally disagree. I've read an article, he said, I think by Chidi Odinkalu on this issue. That is a man that has the passion for always attacking judges and the judiciary, Okocha said. And the former NBA president took time to speak about this matter. He stated that I heard the critics are saying that the judiciary should not have attended the event, that the CJN, the president of the Court of Appeal, should not have attended that ceremony, that they should not be there because of their suspicion that Wike can be in court. You can't stop a man from doing his job. Judiciary should not be awarding contract for the bidding of court. There is nothing wrong in the executive providing such facilities, including motor vehicles, for this judiciary, judges, magistrates, and other judicial officers. I do not agree with him. Okocha emphasized that throughout history, court facilities involving contracting have been provided by the executive branch. From time immemorial, court facilities that involve contracting are provided by the executives. It is just that our National Assembly has taken it upon themselves to be awarding contracts for their own benefit and bidding of their own structure. The judiciary should be insulated from anything that can bring them into conflict between their duty and interest. So there is nothing wrong with what has happened here, he explained. Drawing from his own experience, Okocha added, I have served as Attorney General of a state. We built courts for the Rivers State Judiciary. Others have served as Attorney Generals too and did similar thing. The Supreme Court complex, for instance, was not awarded by the Supreme Court. He also addressed the role of National Judicial Council, NJC, stating, of course, now they have the National Judicial Council that award contracts that have to do with staff of the judiciary. But the NJC is a separate body. Of course, you have to be careful. You don't want to put a council like that in a position of conflict of interest. I do not see the basis of that criticism. Okocha concluded by emphasizing that the judiciary should not be involved in awarding contracts to avoid potential conflicts of interest. Judiciary should not be awarding contracts if they are parties to a contract, and if a litigation arises with regard to such contract, they will go to court, and it is the same judiciary that will now preside, because judges are part of the judiciary, and you know the principle of law, nemo judex in cursor suam, meaning no man should be a judge in his own case, he added. Of course, Professor Odinkalu replied him very swiftly by saying, it's good to note that you did not say whatever I brought was fake news, but the fact that you recognize the fact that I am always coming against you people, not because of the fact that it's fake news or have a personal interest, but simply because, for whatever reasons, you guys are old guys. I do not want to join issues with you. I don't want to say things on social media, but I believe people should go back and check, take a view of yourself, ask yourself some personal questions if what you're doing is right and all. Of course, my colleague is in the house. And what he's not trying to say, what OJC, don't forget that OJC is a one-time Attorney General of the state during the reign and time, of course, of Nyesom Wike. Is one of the strong allies of Nyesom Wike. In fact, he's one of the wise men, the three wise men that Fubara and Wike talked about in coded terms during the argument when they had a luncheon in Rivers State, where they mentioned three wise men. Of course, Sergeant Wuse was one of them, and this is OJC Okocha is another person. And when OCJ Okocha spoke about this matter, he was very strong about the fact that he's a legal luminary, a seasoned one for that matter, and he believes so strongly that these guys, the 27 lawmakers, will get back their mandate and Supreme Court will have the final ruling. And now he's again supporting that Justice Ekekere has nothing. There was nothing wrong with Justice Ekekere, being then the ground laying foundation for the 40 housing unit for the judiciary, and the fact that there's nothing also wrong for the executive arm to be building houses for the judiciary, judging the fact that in his own reign too, when he was in Rivers, they did the same thing to them. So there's nothing wrong with it. I know Odinkalu seems to totally disagree, and many legal luminaries also totally disagree with the executive arm really doing this. What's your take on this, please?
Well, for me, I think that when it comes to this issue, we should sort best global practice. Personally, I am of the opinion that it should be the Ministry of Works that should do this. Ministry of Works should be the one that is responsible for building houses for the judiciary.
But they actually gave it to NJC, the National Judicial Council.
Yes, NJC. Now, when you give it to NJC, one of the issues of concern there is the fact that if there is any litigation because of it, it will be difficult to, begin to judge them, considering the fact that these are, high caliber people and all of that in the judiciary. So it will be difficult to handle them. But if you give it to a ministry that is charged with the responsibility of creating or building infrastructure across the country, it will make a great deal of sense. Now, it should be in such a way that it should be outlined like every other one. Contractors will bid for the job and they will go in and create it. But giving it out to maybe someone like Wike, who is having a lot of legal issues, it doesn't make any sense, you understand? Because he's looking at it as though he's doing them a favor. He's not looking at it as if it's a public responsibility to do this. But when you are, for example, ministry, if you're talking about building of roads, and you mention someone like the current Minister of Works, that is David Umahi, it is his responsibility to do all of that, you understand? Yeah, but for you to begin to carry, for example, fixing of road, you see Wike being the one fixing road in this, it's totally wrong, you understand? In Abuja, for me, it's wrong. What's Umahi doing, you understand? Yes, someone can say that's just a region for him to handle and all of, but you know that Wike will not give that responsibility to the Commissioner of Works to do it. He will be the one to initiate it. He will be the one to do everything, because we already know what he's gaining from that. This is Nigeria, you understand? Though he will deliver on it, but then we know that there's more to it. So every time, and one of the things I notice about the person of Wike is whenever he uses public funds, that's the thing that you see makes people talk too much. Whenever he uses funds to do something for you, he will make it look as though you don't deserve it.
It's just doing you a favor.
That I'm doing you a favor. And that thing is it's something that should be dealt with seriously. Every of the money expended in this administration, it is not any minister's money. It is not any elected officer's money. It is the taxpayer's money. So that person is not doing you a favor. But you hear people talk about, this job has been here for how many years? I just came and I did. Oh God, now your money, where you carry the one? It's not your own money. That's why the issue of integrity and corruption should be really dealt with, because unfortunately people will carry out their responsibility and they want you to thank them, genuflect for them for doing it, when you know very well that you have not, a coin of yours have not, and you've been paid to supervise and make sure that you do that job. So that's the situation for me. When it comes to judiciary, that work he's doing there is not for Abuja Judiciary, or neither is it for, it's federal, you understand? That's what I'm trying to say. It's federal. I mean, and if it is federal, the Ministry of Works should be the one to allocate Who is going to do that job? Wike should run around doing the street in but it's not of his responsibility to be doing that. Because I know that as he did that, he's been able to put them under grip and, he's trying to remote control them and make them do the things that is right for him.
All right, let's go wrap it up.